Okay, so Las Vegas Raiders obviously brought in a new head coach, former New England Patriot offensive coordinator, and former Denver Bronco head coach Josh McDaniels. Obviously, the Raiders are hoping for a much better McDaniels in Las Vegas than he was in Denver. And McDaniels recognized he had a lot to learn from his stint in Denver. And according to Michael David Smith at Pro Football Talk, McDaniels said, "When I went to Denver, I knew a little bit of football. I didn't really know people, though, and how important that aspect of this process and maintaining the culture in the building was. And I failed. I didn't succeed at it. Looking at the experience has been one of the best things in my life in terms of my overall growth as a person, as a coach. What do I need to do different? How do I need to handle my role if I have another opportunity and do better at it? I feel like that's really an area that I've tried to grow in." All right, Maya. So obviously McDaniels flamed out in Denver, but he looks like he recognized the mistakes he made as the leader he needed to be as a head coach, and he's willing to take advantage and seems prepared to take advantage of his second chance as a head coach.
Yeah, Nick, and I'll give you some props here. Per your recommendation, recently I've been reading the book Gridiron Genius by Mike Lombardi. And in the book, he talks a lot about Walsh and Belichick. And particularly, he talks about second chance coaching in Belichick and how throughout history, coaches who've gotten a second chance have been considerably better the second time around because of this exact fact. You have to fail and learn things before you can succeed. And so it seems like McDaniels went to the Broncos, failed, he learned a lot, and this time he is much more prepared for a task that he's already had a taste of. But going throughout history, there have been a lot of other coaches who've gotten second chances and done incredibly well. Notably, Bill Belichick going from Cleveland to New England. We all know how that's gone. 6 Super Bowls plus is incredible. Then you've got Don Shula going from the Colts to the Dolphins, one of the most winning coaches of all time from that switch. You got Mike Shanahan, Raiders to the Broncos, transformed John Elway's career. Andy Reid, Eagles, Chiefs, that's still going on to this day. You can see the effects of it, just like Belichick. And another interesting one was Marv Levy going from the Chiefs to the Bills. He did inevitably lose 4 Super Bowls in a row, but no one ever been to 4 Super Bowls in a row before that. So there's been a lot of proof in the pudding, per se, of how second chance coaching is a positive thing, and Raiders can be excited about this, don't you think?
Yeah, and especially when you got a guy who's self-aware. I think that's the key. You hear Belichick talk about his time in Cleveland. He talked about things he learned. You hear about Andy Reid talk about the things he learned in Philly and, is not doing or is doing better in Kansas City now. And I think that McDaniels has a self-awareness to recognize that he did a lot of things wrong in Denver. I feel like coaches that do poorly or don't grow as coaches, they think it was somebody else's fault. It was a bad owner, a bad schedule, they had injuries. McDaniels didn't say that at all. He came out right and said, "Hey, look, I failed. I was wrong. I did a lot of things wrong, and I got to work at it." And I think that's a really good sign for the Raiders. I got one other really good sign for you too. Everyone knows the relationship between coach and quarterback is paramount. And Josh McDaniels this offseason has been profuse in his praise for Raiders quarterback Derek Carr. This was just quoted, McDaniels talking about Derek Carr. He says, quote, "It'll be a really fun experience for me to continue to build this thing with him as our leader." That was to Sirius XM NFL Radio. So McDaniels, there's kind of a twofold thing there. He understands he has to grow and learn from his mistakes that he did in Denver, but he also understands part of that is applying that in his relationship with Derek Carr, and he's well on his way to doing that. And I think that's a really great sign for the Raiders.
Yeah, and on top of that, McDaniels walks into what I consider a pretty good situation in Las Vegas player-wise. They have a stellar defense, a lot of homegrown talent they've brought into there. They recently acquired Devontae Adams there. So they're set receiving Darren Waller, Devontae Adams. What more could you need? Josh Jacobs is a serviceable running back. I mean, and by all accounts, the Raiders seem set up right now to be pretty successful. So if McDaniels can implement his legendary offense that he's able to put out there, I think the Raiders should feel real good about having McDaniels as their coach. This is a new McDaniels, a more savvy McDaniels, a guy who's learned from his mistakes, as you said. He's self-aware. He's grown, and then he comes to your team and takes you home, and you don't have to worry about the failures of Gruden and all of the turmoil that you've been through the last few years. You've got something to hope in now. Hope is dangerous, but you gotta love when you have a little bit to hope for.